In this one I'm gonna show you how you can nuke the map with Gauss Prime, primarily using the Thermal Thunder. Okay, so for those who don't know, I'm gonna go over the skills of Gauss for a moment. If you're already familiar with him, you can skip ahead. Macrush is Gauss's first ability, and you basically turn yourself into a fucking missile. If you hold the ability, you constantly sprint forward, and if you tap it, you just burst yourself a little ahead. His second, Kinetic Plating, saves you. When you activate it, Gauss gets protection against certain physical and elemental damage types, and when you get shot, you get energy in return. His third ability, Thermal Thunder, is the nuke. Gauss creates a massive thermal zone around himself that can either apply cold or heat depending on how you cast it. If you invert it, once you tap it, it does heat, and if you hold it, it does cold. His fourth, Redline. This is basically Gauss saying enough fucking around. When you activate Redline, Gauss starts pushing his systems beyond their normal limits. As you build up the battery and increase your Redline percentage, his abilities become stronger and certain bonuses ramp up. And that's everything you need to know about Gauss's skills. Let's move on to the mods now. This isn't meant to be some universally best Gauss, but this is what I'm using, and this is what I like. For the aura, I'm using Corrosive Projection. This is mainly here to reduce enemy armor and make it easier for the abilities and weapons to actually chew through tougher enemies. In the Exilus slot, I'm using Cunning Drift. The main reason is the extra ability range here, and range is pretty important for this build because I'm relying heavily on Gauss's abilities to affect groups. It also gives a little extra mobility, which obviously fits Gauss pretty damn well. Next is Prime Continuity. This one is pretty straightforward. I'm running a lot of duration because I don't want to constantly recast everything. Longer duration means things like Kinetic Plating and Redline can stay active for longer, and it generally makes the whole build feel smoother. Gauss already wants to keep moving and doing things constantly, so the less time I keep recasting abilities, the better. Then we have Stretch. This gives us more ability range, which is especially useful for Thermal Thunder. The bigger the radius, the more enemies I can affect without having to stand directly on top of them. And because we're combining Stretch with other range mods in this build, Thermal Thunder gets a pretty ridiculous area to work with. Then we have Prime Flow for energy. Gauss can burn through energy pretty quickly when you're constantly using his abilities, so having a larger energy pool gives a lot more room to work with. It also means I don't have to obsess with energy pickups quite as much because it gets annoying. Then there's Augur Reach, again more range. This is one of those mods that don't look particularly exciting on its own, but it contributes to the overall idea of the build. Now we have Archon Vitality, which is a bit more interesting. Obviously it gives Gauss additional health, which is useful on its own, but the actual reason I'm using it, if you don't know, is the enhanced effect it gives to heat abilities. Since Thermal Thunder does heat, this gives the heat side of the build some extra value, so I'm getting survivability while also improving something I'm already using. Then we have Overextended. This gives a massive amount of ability range, but obviously there's a downside, it reduces ability strength. For this particular setup, I'm willing to accept that trade-off because I'm prioritizing the size and consistency of my abilities. So I'm not trying to make every single ability hit as hard as physically possible. I want the build to feel good to use. And when I'm running Thermal Thunder through a mission, having that massive range is incredibly satisfying for me. Rolling Guard for survivability. This is basically my panic button. If I get into a situation where I'm taking way too much damage, which happens, I can roll and get that brief period of calming down while also cleansing the status effects. It's especially useful when you're doing higher level content where one bad moment can turn into a very quick death. And since Gauss is constantly moving anyway, Rolling Guard fits naturally into the playstyle for me. Finally, we've got Streamline. This gives us additional ability efficiency. And this is important because I'm casting abilities constantly. The whole Gauss playstyle is based around keeping the machine running. I'm moving, using Macrush, maintaining Kinetic Plating, or Roar in this case, casting Thermal Thunder and keeping Redline going. So even though I'm already getting energy from other parts of the kit and my larger energy pool helps, Streamline makes the whole rotation much less expensive, I guess. For the Arcanes, I'm using Molt Augmented and Molt Efficiency. Molt Augmented is basically giving me additional ability strength as I accumulate kills throughout the mission. That works nicely because I'm naturally going to kill a lot of enemies anyway. So as the mission progresses, the build gradually gets stronger. Then there's Molt Efficiency. This gives me the additional ability duration while my shields are active. And because Gauss can maintain his shields pretty comfortably when you're playing correctly, I can get a lot of value from this Arcane. It also fits the general philosophy of the build. So overall we have good range, good duration, good efficiency, a big energy pool, and enough survivability to survive mistakes. And that's basically the whole idea behind this setup. It's a Gauss build that lets me keep moving and keep casting, which is fun. So yeah, that's the whole build. I hope you enjoyed the video. and I'll see you in the next one.